To some, he was a saint. To others, a sellout, a symbol of peace, or a pawn of power, a freedom fighter, a terrorist, a hero, or a traitor. And then there's this. Some people around the world swear they saw his funeral on TV, years before he actually died. A glitch in memory or something more. This is the story of Nelson Mandela, not the one in your textbook, the one that history dares you to question. Born in 1918 in the rural village of Mvezo, Eastern Cape, Nelson Mandela entered South Africa poisoned by racial segregation and British colonial arrogance. The son of a Thembu chief, Mandela's early years were steeped in Xhosa traditions, communal values, and oral wisdom. At school, a missionary teacher renamed him Nelson, stripping away Rolelala, meaning troublemaker. Ironically, that name would define his legacy. In Johannesburg, he became a lawyer and a fighter, first in courtrooms, then in the streets. The young Mandela joined the ANC and began to stir a storm the apartheid state could not ignore. Initially a believer in non-violence, Mandela changed course after the 1960 Sharpeville massacre. The death of 69 black protesters marked a turning point. Mandela co-founded Umkhonto we Sizwe, Spear of the Nation, the ANC's armed wing. Sabotage, not silence. Resistance, not retreat. In 1962, he was captured, tried for conspiracy, and sentenced to life in prison.
During my lifetime, I have dedicated my life to this struggle of the African people. I have fought against white domination, and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the idea of a democratic and free society in which all persons will live together in harmony and with equal opportunity. It is an idea for which I hope to live and to see realized. But my Lord, if it need be, it is an idea for which I am prepared to die.
He was buried alive, figuratively, on Robben Island for 18 years. Crushed limestone, cold floors, censored letters, and no contact with his children. But Mandela adapted, studied his captors, learned their language, taught fellow prisoners. He turned a prison into a university and a myth into a movement. Here's where things get strange. Across the world, people distinctly remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. They recall watching the funeral on TV, reading news reports, even mourning his death in school assemblies. But he didn't die until 2013. This collective false memory sparked what is now known as the Mandela effect, a psychological phenomenon where large groups of people remember something incorrectly yet with absolute confidence. The Monopoly man had a monocle. The Fruit of the Loom logo had a cornucopia. Darth Vader said, "Luke, I am your father." All false. But why Mandela? Because his life blurred the line between reality and legend. His absence, those 27 years in prison, left a blank space that memory filled with imagination, rumor, and myth. Mandela became both a man and a ghost. The Mandela effect is more than faulty memory. It's a mirror of how history itself is shaped, edited, and sometimes rewritten. What if our memory of Mandela isn't wrong, but fragmented? What else have we misremembered or been made to forget? In the late 1980s, South Africa was tearing at the seams. Global sanctions, uprisings in black townships, and political pressure forced the apartheid regime to negotiate. In 1990, Nelson Mandela walked free. No bitterness, no vengeance, only resolve. Mandela's greatest battlefield wasn't Robben Island. It was the negotiation table. He made peace with white elites, security forces, and the corporate oligarchy. He chose to forgive those who killed his comrades, and urged black South Africans to do the same. Critics called it compromise. Others, betrayal. The West embraced Mandela because he didn't demand reparations or land seizures. He calmed the fire when the system was still burning. Black economic power remained a dream. Land reform was delayed, and many still live in shacks next to mansions. Did Mandela trade justice for peace? Mandela became South Africa's first black president in 1994, a symbol of unity, a leader who wore the jersey of a white rugby team to unite a nation. He only served one term, but his moral authority lingered. Some saw wisdom, others saw retreat. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission gave closure, but not punishment. Apologies, not reparations. The contradictions remain. Yes, he ended apartheid. Yes, he prevented a civil war. Yes, he became a global icon of peace. But economic apartheid continues. Land inequality persists. Millions still feel the sting of broken promises. His legacy built on what he did, or what he failed to do. Mandela is a myth, not because he wanted to be, but because we needed him to be. He became a symbol so large we stopped asking questions. And yet, as the Mandela effect shows us, memory is never perfect. Even truth can become distorted, polished, or packaged. So was Mandela a hero, or a traitor? Or was he simply human, facing impossible choices in an unforgiving world? The name Mandela lives on in statues, songs, speeches, and even in mistaken memories. But it's not enough to remember him. We must understand him. Not the version handed to us in sound bites, not the Disney-fied saint, not the whispered accusations, but the full, complicated man. History isn't made by perfection. It's made by people. And the question isn't whether Mandela was a hero or a traitor. The real question is, what would you have done in his place?